Hello, sanmanani ninjani. I hope ni right, futhi ni bright, futhi ni ready. Yes, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you guys back. Yes, it is indeed my second video. Boo, 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 boo. Yes, guys, it's happening. It's just gonna keep happening, so get used to it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you're already subscribing, thank you so much. And if you've sent and left your messages and all of those amazing topics that I requested last week, I'm just so excited. In this episode though, we're going to be talking about identifying ourselves where fear is concerned. Our topic is going to be fear, and we're going to be talking about it because it's one of the things that also held me back from starting this channel and from engaging with you guys. So I really feel like it's one of the things that us as individuals, even us as young adults and old people, young people, whoever you are, you can be able to just see which area of your life has fear locked out. Because the thing about fear is it's got very sneaky, disguising ways of it convincing you that, you know, it's okay, don't do it. And when you don't, that's how you miss your whole life's purpose. So basically, that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. There are lots of different types of fear, but I'm going to just narrow it down to just a few that I'm going to mention today. And that once we understand those different types of fear and how they can be able to affect our lives, then we can be able to then move into understanding how then can we step out of fear and step into a space of power and a sound mind. And there's that type where you also the fear of being different. Sometimes as we are different people, our callings are very different, our directions of life is very different, and sometimes when you step out of the norm, or what is a norm to your society, people will start to think, Uguti aibo ezusbanbani lost it, what are they doing, why are they doing that? Because they don't understand it, and people won't understand you because you're different. And when you're not the same as everyone else, things become so difficult, because also the fear creeps in to say, but you can't stand out, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's going to, what are the people going to say? Syndrome. And then it just takes you down the path of you missing the mark, and you missing what you're actually called for and what you're actually designed to be, just because you wanted to succumb to what everyone else or what society had deemed to be the norm. So basically, there's also a fear of commitment that we find is rife now. It starts with small things. You don't commit to your going to the gym. You make the I'm guilty on that one. Like, you make the effort, you register at the gym, you wanna go, but you just, and it's not really a lot. You let yourself down just by allowing that fear to step into the place. And even when you're at the gym, you start to think, oh my goodness, everyone is doing so great. Bonke bayasazi step, and now you're behind. And I'm always that child that's like, oh, angifuna ukudistepha ingane seziyazi zenzani, so angifuna ukumosha into enhle yengane ezistephayo, okungcono ngizoyibamba lapha kwi-treadmill. And you start now then to miss out on the goodness of the package of actually being a member at the gym, because now you're missing out because of fear. Uyasaba ukuthi mufunda ngempela if ungasifundi step, because nabo baqale bengasazi, you know. If ngempela ungasifundi step, then you're just like, but ngeke le nto ngibona sebeshesha kakhulu, ngeke ngize ngikwazi ukuyenza mina. Or fear can also tell you to know this is not your thing. You know, it can whisper different types of things to you. And fear of commitment goes a long way, because even in our relationships, we are afraid to have friends. We are afraid to have, because now people you can't trust, because now this, because now that. And you can't give yourself fully to any situation. You can't even love fully because you don't know, or you're in fear because ukule in a house where you only had one mother, or you only had a father, or both of them constantly is to quarrel every time. And your understanding of what relationship and what love and what meeting a person is messed up, because you're scared to admit that that was how you grew up, but that might not be what's out there for you. So basically, fear will cause you to miss a lot of opportunities that were certain that if you would get them, they would go a long way. If you would get them, they would actually fulfill the actual purpose why you're here. And this is also the fear of facing inner truths, because sometimes it's difficult for us to understand ukuthi yazi ukuthi nomona. And Leo, it takes isikhathi. You can listen to a lot of sermons, you can listen to a lot of people, but it takes a long time for you to be able to understand and admit to yourself ukuthi cha unenkinga nje yomona. Problem might be, or the truth might be to yourself. Also, unenkinga ye self-confidence. You don't have enough confidence, to stand before people. So all of those things are things that are the fears that we constantly are in battle with each and every day. There's also the fear of being alone, and people are scared to be by themselves. You can't leave nobody alone these days because it's tough. People just are like, no, yabona nje ngeke surviving, because people are just scared to be alone. So they will want to latch on to anything and everything that is available to be caught onto, and miss the right people or the right things that they can be able to catch on and catch into. So it's really important for us to look at our lives and see how fear has affected our lives, how fear has got the power to walk into our lives in disguise, to make us think ukuthi we're not afraid, but we actually are. We're just scared. What if we actually do it? And what if we actually make it? I just believe Uguti, it's really a space in our lives where we need to look into ourselves and allow ourselves to grow. Because there's also then the fear of change. You're scared to change. We're scared to change. We're scared to do anything. Like, I feel like the biggest issue in my life where I was starting to walk my journey with God is where the part where you have to die to yourself. Your individual needs to die. And that part, I always thought that was like the creepiest part of the Bible. But then I started to understand that you can't do anything without dying. You cannot change without dying. Everything that we are doing, or that we are looking to do, and everything that we want to pursue in our lives, it will all require a change, either a change in our minds, a change in our actions, a change in our habits, a change in the way we do things. And because we don't want that change, we don't want it to affect us. And that's the reason why sometimes salvation seems like a thing that's working for some and and not working for others, is because when it comes to the time where God wants you to change your mind, He wants you to transform your thinking. That's the part where most Christians are like, I'll do everything else. In fact, I can go on a 40-day fast, but I won't change. Because the changing part is the part where it's the actual part that kills you, so that you're able then to be stronger, so that you're able to be more impactful, and you're able to be better. So basically what I'm saying is today, there's a lot of things that we can speak about. There's a lot of things that we can look at when we look at what fear is and how it's able to come into our lives and affect us in such a hectic way. But take heart. I like it every time in the Bible. I'm a Bible girl. You guys know this. Every time in the Bible, something hectic is being spoken of. And then you see, take heart. That's the part where you're just like, the good stuff is coming now. Take heart, because fear does not have power when you have power and a sound mind. And I feel like that's the space that we ought to want to yearn to be in, because that's a space where when you've got power, you're able to then hold thoughts captive, because when you don't have power, anything can rampage in your mind. You can think the worst of yourself. You can not do what you ought to do. But when you start to understand that you've got the power and you are able then to make certain decisions and to do things a certain way, because your mind is now sound, because it's being transformed daily, then you start to understand things differently. You start to see things differently, and that ultimately starts to change the way you are. So basically what we're doing in this part of the video is to identify ourselves. Are you afraid to change? That's the question that you can ask yourself this week. That am I afraid to change? Am I afraid to do something in a different way? Am I so used to the way that I've been doing things that I actually don't want to like change? Or am I scared of facing my inner truth? Am I scared of facing the things that are the truth about me that I ought to change? Am I scared of that? And are you afraid of being loved in return? Because that can also be a thing. Are you afraid of being loved in return? Maybe that's why you're behaving the way that you're behaving, because sometimes you would behave a certain way, not understanding that it is all being driven by a certain fear that if you are giving this much love, if you are giving this much goodness, are you going to be able to get it back? And the thing is, the Bible constantly speaks to us about not losing heart and wanting to continue regardless of what the odds are. So now we don't have to have fear of what happens when good things happen. I can tell you, when a person starts smiling right next to you, that's a good thing. You automatically want to join them, but you don't even know what's going on. And the nice thing about good things is that they are contagious. So basically, what you can learn and understand from today when you're asking yourself these questions is, are you scared to even be alone? You know, are you scared to be alone? Are you strong to be by yourself, or are you scared to be by yourself? You know, another question you can ask yourself is, are you scared of being different? Are you in fear of being different? Because most of the things that will stop us is just the fear we have regarding that specific thing or that specific area of our lives. Are you in fear of being rich? Because it can happen that you are scared of being wealthy. And because you're scared of being wealthy, you don't even know how you will contain it as an individual. And that's why it's important for us to look at these things and identify them, point them out at first, and so that we can be able to get to the next part of our series where we speak to, now that we've identified where our problems or where our fear stems from, then now we've popped that zit and we've popped it to the core, and we cannot grow other ones because we have taken it out from its root, and it will have no power, because then the power will be restored back to you. So what we're doing in this series is we want to restore power back to you by taking away that fear, by also identifying that fear, looking at it straight in the face and saying, now that we would have received power and a sound mind, this can play no longer in my life. Sometimes when you look into the matter, you start to see that it's really a space where you missed it because you were afraid. So fear will definitely kill your dreams. Fear will definitely hold you back. Fear will definitely destroy the world. Fear definitely has the power to determine your success or your failure. All of those things are stemming from a place where you're afraid and you're not wanting to take the lead and take the stand and do what it is that God has predestined you to do. It's unfortunate because fear can move even into the space of worship, where you'll find that you want to do what everybody else is doing. You want to lift up your hands. You want to run around the room. You want to give God all the praise. You want to give God all the glory. You can feel it. You want to do it. You want to exercise the gift of the Spirit that God has given you. You want to speak in tongues. You want to do the things that other Christian believers are doing, but fear will hold you back on the basis of, go babubani, abantu bazothini. And there's that whole thing with, no, I'm a man, or no, mina abantu abangazi kanjalo, or what about my makeup, or what about this, or what about that. But we're actually scared to see what God can do with our lives when we take fear and put it to the door, and we move in power, and we move in a sound mind. And today I want us to basically sit back, look back, and just do a little introspection with ourselves, where we get to look at ourselves from the inside to say, have I let fear in any area of my life to take place? And if I have, where is that area? And so that next week, when we continue on how to get that fear out of your life for good, then we will start, and we will grow, and we will learn, because we will no longer be afraid. We will no longer be having anything holding us back, So I'm just in that space where I wanted to share about this, because I was in that space where I wanted to, but I was afraid. So now that I'm no longer afraid, I will next week then be giving you the keys. Stay tuned. You best stay tuned for this series, because it's going to be a foundation of everything that we do from now. Because everything that we're going to be talking about from now, you cannot be able to attain it if you're still afraid. You cannot be able to attain it if you're still in a position of not having power and not having a sound mind. So those things are very important, that as we start to rebalance ourselves, or start to reintroduce ourselves to a better us, or a better self, then we must be in a space where we are ready to take those things, pluck them out, and then put them out, so that we can be able to receive the new things that are going to be coming into our spaces. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was informative. So stay tuned for next week's video, so that you'll see how we are able to step now out of this fearful zone into the good zone, which is the zone where you've got power and you've got sound mind. And I'm going to try to give you practical things that you can do with yourself, by yourself, where you can be able to get out and step out of that space and walk into the space where you're going to be receiving this new power, this sound mind, and this amazing life. Thank you so much.